and welcome to Chef M's Kitchen. So we all know this infamous ramen packet, right? You gotta love it, you gotta hate it. I remember enjoying these 1 or 2 times throughout college, and I have to mention even now, they're so yummy. We all know that they come with some not so great nutritional facts. They're high in sodium, they're high in GMOs, and honestly, they don't fill me up, and I need to be full and enjoying a good meal. So today we're gonna be making the fancy ramen that you would see in a restaurant. It's gonna have a soft-boiled egg, it's gonna have veggies, it's gonna have tofu, and it's even gonna have a replica of pork belly, but instead of pork belly, it's eggplant. Yep, it's eggplant. I'm so excited. Let's get started. So first things first, we're gonna press our tofu. For those of you who are not familiar with tofu, it comes in a packet that is full of water just to keep it nice and good for us to eat. So when you're using tofu, you're gonna wanna drain it and press it. This gets all of the moisture out and it leaves it with that tofu that we know and love. All right, so first I've cut holes in this package and I'm just gonna drain this tofu out. So we have this big block of an alien sort of substance that we like to call tofu. So we're gonna go ahead and press this. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lay a towel down on my cutting board. You want to have something that's going to absorb as much moisture as possible. I have a paper towel. I'm just gonna rip it in half and put the paper towel down on the towel. Next, I'm gonna put the tofu on top, cover it again with the paper towel. And you're gonna want something that's gonna put pressure on this tofu. I just have these really old pans and I'm gonna put them on, layer them on top, put this plate on top. So it kind of looks like a wonky Jenga tower right now. We have everything on top of the tofu, so all the moisture will come out and it will be ready for our ramen. So I would let this sit for a good 30 minutes. All right, friends, now we're gonna start on our broth. The best part of an elevated ramen, I think, is the savory, spicy, really rich broth that comes along with it. So we're going to be enhancing the broth today. I have Swanson's veggie broth, and I'm gonna add a couple of spices and flavors to enhance this broth. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour this into my pot. I'm gonna turn this on medium-high heat and I'm going to bring it up to a simmer. While this pot is heating up, I'm going to talk about miso for a little bit. We're gonna make a spicy miso broth to pair along with our ramen noodles. And a lot of people don't really know what miso paste is. So miso paste is fermented soybean and it has a nice umami flavor. Umami just means that it's a really savory type of flavor that goes along with a lot of Asian dishes. So miso, soy sauce, anything like that. It is really good to add to soups and sauces, and I will show you guys what it looks like. Mine's a little used, but this is a yellow miso paste, and the brand that I got is this one right here. You can use other brands, but this is the one that I like, and it has worked really well, and it tastes amazing. So this is what I'm using. What's going in the pot after this comes up to a simmer is 2 tablespoons of miso, a bay leaf, a garlic clove, and I've smashed it so all the flavor can come out, and a dried chili. All of these ingredients are just gonna enhance the broth and give it more of a depth of flavor, so it's gonna be really great. Right now I also have a pot of cold water over high heat, getting ready for our soft-boiled eggs. So pay attention to this one because it is not a hard-boiled egg and it's a completely different technique that you would do to make a soft-boiled egg. The pot is on high heat and we're gonna bring it up to a boil. So you always wanna make sure that your broth never comes to a full boil. This is because it can reduce your flavor and take away that good stuff that we put into the pot already. In goes the miso, bay leaf, chili, and garlic. Give it a nice whisk to make sure all that miso is getting incorporated into the broth. Miso is extremely salty, so don't add any salt until you've tasted it and decided that you want more. Let this simmer for about 10 minutes and then shut off the heat. So our pot is coming up to a boil and I'm about to add in my 2 eggs that I'm going to soft boil. I'm gonna take the eggs and we're gonna gently lower them into the water bath. We're gonna let these sit in the pot for 6.5 minutes. We want this boil to stay how it is. We want it to stay very soft so it doesn't overboil. Okay, so after 6.5 minutes, we're gonna transfer these eggs into an ice bath. Don't worry if you get a little mutation on your egg, that's totally fine. We can just peel that off. And let that cool down for like 2 minutes. Save this pot of water for your ramen water. We are going to reheat it and that's what we're gonna put our noodles in. So I'm just gonna set this to the back. Okay, so I've taken my eggs out and I've placed them in a bowl. We're not gonna peel them until we are ready to eat the ramen. So just set these aside and wait for later. Okay, we're now gonna make the chili oil. It's gonna be a side if you wanna top your ramen with extra spicy goodness. So I'm gonna put this on high heat, add in about 2 tablespoons of sesame oil. I'm gonna add in 1 teaspoon of minced ginger and 1 teaspoon of minced garlic. Okay, next we're gonna saute our veggies. I'm using canola oil just because canola oil has a very high smoking point, so we can saute these veggies on high heat. I'm gonna saute 1 red pepper cut into thin slices, about 1/2 cup of mushrooms, and the light green and white parts of a green onion. I've sliced about 4 green onions and I'm reserving the dark green parts for garnish. All right, turn that heat up high and add in your oil. Once that oil starts to move around, that's when you know you're ready to add your veggies. Do you hear that sizzling sound? That's what you want to hear. Okay, it's ramen time. So I have my saved water from my soft boiled eggs. I'm gonna generously add salt. You want your water for noodles to taste almost like the ocean, so that's how salty it needs to be. I'm gonna throw in my ramen noodles. Once it boils, this, toss. You do not need this anymore. While I'm waiting for my water to boil, I'm going to cut my tofu into blocks. Okay, my water is boiling, so I'm gonna drop this ramen in how it is and let it go for 3 minutes. Once it gets soggy, you can start to break it up, but you really wanna leave it in its natural state when you drop it in the water. Okay, so we've done all the work and now it's time for the best part, building our ramen. So I have the ramen noodles and the broth in this bowl, and I have all of my goodies set aside. This makes for a really great dinner or even a great dinner party. You can have a ramen do-it-yourself bar. How fun would that be? A ramen bar instead of a ice cream bar? I mean, ice cream bar sounds pretty good too, but we're gonna do a ramen bar today. So I have my sliced jalapenos. I kept the seeds in because I want it to be extra spicy. My tofu, cut into about 1-inch thick cubes. My dark green scallions sliced on a bias. My sauteed veggies, my chili oil, and one part that I did not show you guys is I made my miso glazed eggplant. I have made this recipe before online, so if you are curious on how to make this, I will put a link to this recipe on my website and on my YouTube channel. The only thing I did different is I cut it to resemble fried pork belly, which is a really famous topping for ramen. So we're making this plant-based, and I cut the eggplant into little chunks, like so, and I added gochujang. Gochujang is a Korean chili paste, and I will put a link to that on my website as well. So I'm gonna first start with the sauteed veggies. Add some of this. I'm gonna add my tofu blocks. Jalapenos. My boiled egg. I have them all peeled and in a bowl, and I'm gonna cut this straight down the center. You've got to be kidding me. You guys have to see a close-up of this. My miso glazed eggplant. And finally, to top it off, my sliced scallions. And there you have it, elevated ramen. If you're interested in any of my other recipes or this recipe, I will have it linked to my website. And just remember, I practice self-love by cooking delicious meals for myself and my family, and I make sure to take the time to enjoy my food. You are worth a good meal, and you are worth enjoying your food. So don't forget, love yourself and eat your veggies. Bye y'all.